Hey guys, Miss Bell here. I wanted to take a moment to go through our reopening plan completely with you all, walk you through a few things, and hopefully answer a whole bunch of questions for you before we have students return to the building beginning next week. So if you hold on just a moment, I'm going to share my screen and we will walk through this together. All right, so as I mentioned, we are so excited. We cannot wait to have children back in our building for basically the first time since March 13th, I believe, is when the majority of them had their last day here in the building. So we are super excited. Next Monday, October 5th, that is when our 6th grade students will return to the building. And then our 7th and 8th grade students will return on Tuesday, October 20th. That is the first day back in school after fall break. So like I said, we cannot wait to have you here, but there's lots of details, lots of changes that we've got to go through and go over with you. These slides are going to be sent out as well separately, so you can go through them and click on them individually in order to reference this more. This particular page here, just about everything on this screen is linked. So to begin with, we do have our updated school calendar that you can reference. And let me go back. Didn't like what that did there. So you've got our school calendar. You've also got our student handbook, which I am going to try to open it in a different tab here to reference. So here we have our student handbook, and our student handbook has all sorts of information in it. I highly recommend at some point you and your student go step by step through it. To begin with, these tabs over on the side will go to that specific information for you immediately. So the first thing we have is our staff info. That is all of our staff, both certified and classified in the building. Every link there directs you to their email address, so you can automatically click on that and email them. That takes you through all of our staff. We then move into attendance. This is all of our attendance policies involving notes and sick days, and everything that involves absences can be found on these pages here. We then have some health and safety forms and information in there as well. Medication, if your student requires medication during the day, please make sure to reference that and be in contact with Miss Carla in the front office. Some academic information here, grades, grading system, grading scale. We also have athletic information in here. We also have our discipline policy in here. All of our discipline policies from not only the district, but then you will also find our behavior matrix linked on here as well. That will take you through, let me open that one up in a new tab as well. That will take you to our entire behavior matrix. And so oftentimes whenever events occur and parents will say, well, what happened to the other kid? I'm not allowed to explain to you what happens to any other student, but you can always reference our behavior matrix, because that's what Mr. Boston and I follow in regards to consequences. And so you can take a look at all of the different minor and major offenses that we have experienced here at some point, different things that are behavior issues or concerns, and what these steps are in regards to handling those situations. So all of that is in here at your fingertips. We also have our dress code listed in here. I've gotten lots of questions lately about dress code, especially from our 6th grade parents. So please understand, we do not have a uniform. A uniform usually refers to khaki or navy pants and a solid color polo type of thing. We do not have a uniform, but we do have a dress code. What we ask is that shirts are either a button or a collared shirt. It can be a button up, it can be a polo, does not matter. It just has to have a collar. If a shirt has a collar, it is considered in dress code. If you want to wear t-shirts or hoodies or sweatshirts, that needs to be ZMS spirit wear. On your bottoms, you can wear shorts, you can wear pants, you can wear jeans, khakis, any solid color pair of pants. And if in fact you're wanting to wear sweatpants, those again need to be ZMS logoed sweatpants. We don't allow any yoga pants, any leggings, sweatpants, basketball shorts, pajamas, anything like that. So please make sure that you are in dress code every day. In regards to backpacks, students will have lockers this year. I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a bit, but we do allow drawstring backpacks to be carried. I would recommend, honestly, getting one with a little padding, but it can be just the very inexpensive one that you can pick up at the dollar store. Just something in order to help contain all of their supplies. And like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about that and the supplies and the lockers in just a bit. We will occasionally have dress down days where students can wear athletic wear, sweatpants, that sort of thing that is not ZMS. But at this point in time, there's none like immediately on the calendar. That will be a periodic thing that will occur though, and that is $1 dress down days. So anyway, all of this information can be found on here as well. There's lots of miscellaneous information. So please make sure to take some time to go step by step through the handbook, take a look at the behavior matrix as well. And it looks like the calendar there. Okay, now we're back. The other thing that is linked on here is our reopening plan in a document form. Now, everything that is on that plan, I'm about to go through in these slides as well. But if you want it just in a printable document, then that is where you will find it there. Okay, like I said, though, everything on here, this is another link to our behavior matrix, some information about our house. This will take you over here to some important links for parents that take you to the Bullitt County website. Even my cat here, Junie B, that is linked to her Instagram account. So if you feel like following Junie B on Instagram, feel free to do so as well. All right, moving on. Hopefully you all have already seen all of these familiar faces. Myself, if you aren't familiar with me yet, and hopefully you are, I'm Cindy Bell, I'm the principal here. Mr. Tyler Boston is my assistant principal. Carissa Lewis is our counselor. Andrea Smallwood is our instructional coach. And then new to us this year is Miss Sarah Thornsberry, and she is our MTSS coach. And that stands for Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. All right, so jumping into some of our information as far as reopening our schools and getting kiddos back in the building. First things first, if you're not feeling well, stay home. That's always been the rule of thumb, but even more so this year. So if you are experiencing any of those symptoms there, please just go ahead and stay home. If you are feeling well enough, then you can still go ahead and keep up with your assignments. If any of these symptoms here, please make sure that we are made aware of that. And there is some questions and protocol type information that we would need to ask you in order to determine if this is just a normal sickness or if in fact you might be showing some symptoms of COVID-19. Also, if you've had an exposure to any COVID-19 patients or those who are in the process of being tested, please make sure that you are communicating that with us as well. Whoops, going too fast there. Masks, let's talk about masks. I've got mine right here. I've been wearing it all day long. The only time I take this off is if I am in my office by myself with the door closed, which happens to be the situation right now. But masks are required to be worn at all times within the building. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor on this. It's really important right now that our kids are focused whenever they come back in school on learning. And learning needs to be, this building needs to be a safe place for them, all of our students. So I'm going to ask that we be very, very limited on the masks that we bring in. And what I mean by that is solid colors, flowers, paisleys. Really, I'm not looking for any political statements, anything that could be taken controversial to come in. Prefer no words whatsoever on our mask. We just need to keep it as simple as possible, kind of following the same rules as our t-shirts would as well. So if you all can help me out on that, we just want to make this a safe learning environment where our kids are not distracted by anything else going on, where they are truly here in this building to learn from their teachers and to get caught up on some of their content and education at this point. So thank you for your help in advance with that. All right, so arrival to school. There's two ways you can get to school, either by bus or by car. If you are riding the school bus, your temperature will be taken before you get on the bus. Students will have an assigned seat on the bus, and again, masks will be required the entire time that you are on the bus. Whenever you exit the bus, you will receive hand sanitizer before coming into the building. If in fact you are a car rider, again, temperature will be taken by staff before you get out of the car. Let me emphasize that because that's a little different than some of the elementary school videos and such that have been sent out. We ask that students be on the passenger side of the car. Please go ahead and have them in that position. If at all possible, that will be very helpful and help us to keep them safe as far as the traffic goes. We will take your temperature before you get out of the vehicle. Whenever you do get out of the car, we will give you hand sanitizer, and you must go ahead and mask up before entering the building. This actually is wrong information. I'm just noticing here. It says unless they are 6 feet apart in the classroom. That is not the case. Masks are required at all times within the building. I'll repeat that. Masks are required at all times within the building. That is for both our teachers and our students, and we're trying to simply keep everybody safe. Please remember, riding the bus is a privilege. That means that it is not a requirement. If you cannot meet, or if your student cannot meet the expectations on the bus, then it could end up resulting in the loss of bus privilege. So that means somebody else would end up having to bring you to school in the morning. So please emphasize that with your students, that they do need to be following the expectations, sitting in their assigned seat with their mask on the entire time they are on the bus. Once students come into the building, so some will come in from one side from car riders, some will come in from the other side as a bus rider. They will have the opportunity at that point in time to pick up their breakfast if they so choose. That is not a requirement. I'm sure that many sixth graders, whenever they enter next week, are going to be just a deer in the headlights, not really sure what's going on. They're going to walk through and just take one just because it's there and they can. But please understand that breakfast will be available. It'll be a sack breakfast. Students can pick that up on their way in, and then they will make their way directly to their mentor classroom. So they're not going by the bathroom in the morning. They are not going to their lockers in the morning. They're going directly to their mentor class, okay? No congregating. So we're not going to have students coming into the building and kind of waiting there for all of their friends to show up either, okay? We'll probably end up letting 2 buses release into the building at a time. And of course, the cars will be staggered. We'll be taking temperatures and such, 4 or 5 at a time, depending on the staffing that we have available out there at that time. Now, 6th grade students, 6th grade parents, I know that you are concerned. Your students have never set foot in this building before, many of them. They don't necessarily know where to go. They don't know where their mentor class is. Well, that is the beautiful thing about us having just 6th grade in the building next week. It is our time to really love on them and get them orientated to the school and their teachers and the process and the building and their lockers and all of that fun stuff that we generally do at the end of their 5th grade year. So whenever they come into the building on that first day on Monday, please know that all of my 7th and 8th grade teachers will be there. They will have signs with mentor teachers' names on it, and they will be walking kids up to the appropriate room in order to meet up with their mentor teachers, okay? So we are going to take care of them. I assure you, you don't need to get out of your car. You do not need to walk them in. You are not allowed to walk them in. And so please just trust that we have everything taken care of and are ready to take care of your babies whenever they get in this building. As I mentioned, as far as car rider line, we're going to have a little bit of a larger area than we have in the past. Usually we kind of limit the car rider line to about 4, 5, maybe 6 cars, depending on the size, that we allowed to dismiss and get out of their car at a time. We will be extending that a little bit this year, just in order to get as much turnaround as we can. We expect more students to be coming as car riders this year, and as a result, we are preparing for that, making sure that we have additional staff out there in the morning in order to take care of that. Please be careful though. We do ask that you just wait in the line. Please don't, let your kid go just because you're in a hurry to get to work, and allow them to run across the parking lot or drop them off elsewhere, because ultimately we are trying to keep kids safe, and our student safety is way more important to us than you getting and beating that light down the street or beating those buses out. And I'm sorry to say that, but ultimately I've always said that is my #1 goal here in this building, is to keep your kiddos safe. So please help us do that. You can see here, for those of you who are not familiar with our carpool line, you can see kind of the flow. You will come in and you will go into the parking lot here and go all the way around down here and circle. Okay, I don't know if you can see my arrow here as I'm going through this. I should have made that into a big red circle or something that you could see. But you can kind of take a look at the traffic flow here. We do ask that you stay out of the bus lane. We're doing something a little bit different with our buses this year, and that they will be using the bus lane on the left as well in order to exit. They will be doing a full circle around the building rather than coming back through in this area. So in that regard, please, we just ask that you follow this pattern. Oftentimes, whenever the buses are ready to leave, Miss Lewis or myself will be out here and we will stop traffic for just a moment. Sorry, my phone keeps going off over here. We will stop traffic for just a moment in order to allow all of those buses to come through. So we are going to ask again that you just be aware of your surroundings. We may have teachers walking in or some of our instructional assistants walking in. All of us that are out there taking temperatures and such. So please just be aware of your surroundings and don't run us over. I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so I've talked a little bit there about our SAC breakfast whenever you come in. Lunches will be available as well. We do have a plan. Students will be eating in the cafeteria. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And everybody will end up with an assigned seat in there as well. Cell phones. We do ask that cell phones be left at home. I know that that's not always a viable situation, I guess, this year. I know that I have 2 daughters myself, and I know that I like to be able to get hold of them when I want to get hold of them. And unfortunately, that's the type of society that we live in these days. However, if a student brings a cell phone to school, it is required to be turned off and left in their locker. If you need to get a message to your students, please call the office. I promise you we will take care of it. We will get it to them. If you need to talk to your student, again, please call the office and we will figure out a way to make that happen. But calling them in the middle of class, texting them in the middle of class, that is a complete distraction, and that is not why they are here in this building. Please allow them to do their job here in this building whenever they are here, and that is to participate and be engaged in their classes and to learn, not to be checking their phones. So they will be leaving their phones in their lockers, and we'll get them at the end of the day so that they have them on the bus ride home. Okay. I know that oftentimes people will bring up emergency situations and say, well, if there's an emergency, if something were to happen at school, let's say a tornado was coming or there was some emergency that happens, I know you want to get hold of your kids. However, please understand that is the absolute worst thing that you can do in that sort of situation. What happens is a couple of different things. Let's say, for example, we are in a lockdown situation. For whatever reason, you hear that we're in a lockdown situation and you call your student, what's going to happen? Their phone is going to go off, it's going to light up, it's going to make a noise, and all that does is tell an intruder where your child is. So that's one thing we don't want to happen. In addition, in any sort of situation, any sort of emergency situation, if everybody starts calling their students, the phone lines are jammed. Phone lines are completely jammed in this area, and we can't get phone calls out to 911 or whatever other emergency services we need at that time. So please, 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 please encourage your student to follow our school guidelines in this regard. Put their cell phones in their lockers, leave them there throughout the day, turned off. In addition, it will save their battery. All right, as I mentioned before, students will have lockers assigned this year. They will be socially distanced, and there will be set times. It's not going to be locker breaks. There's not bells this year that we're going to be going off of. At no point in time will students have free reign to just leave a classroom, wander around the building, anything like that. It is very, very maintained, scheduled, structured whenever they come in the building this year. As I mentioned before, students will go directly to their mentor class first thing in the morning, okay? During their mentor time, each class has an assigned time that they will take their students to their lockers. And they will have a small group go first, and then they will have them come back in the room. They'll have another small group go after that in order to make sure that social distancing is taking place as much as possible. Students will need their own supplies this year. We will not be able to have class sets of markers, class sets of glue sticks, of pencils. Please, 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 please encourage your child. Get them a little pencil pouch, 99 cents at the dollar store. I guess it's be $1 at the dollar store. But anyway, get them a little pencil pouch. Give them some pencils to carry with them. Encourage them not to loan them out to other people. Everybody does really need to take care of their own supplies this year. We will not be able to supply those nearly as much as we have in the past, simply because of restrictions and COVID-19 guidelines. Students will be able to, like I said, to carry a small backpack. They will mainly just have their Chromebook in there, 1 or 2 notebooks. Some notebooks might be able to be kept in classes as well, so they don't even have to carry that. It's mainly for their Chromebooks and a pencil pouch. That's basically what they need in their backpack on a daily basis. Not a whole lot more, maybe a book to read. As far as instruction goes, in the classroom, we have taken out all of the tables out of the classrooms. We've taken out the couches and the big chairs and all of those other large items from our classrooms, and instead we have a whole lot of desks. So desks will be in each classroom. Students will sit at desks, and for the most part, they will be set up in rows facing forward. Students will still be allowed to work some in small groups. However, those will be assigned small groups, again, because of our contact tracing requirements, and they will be traveling with that same group throughout the day. We're trying to limit that exposure as much as possible. And again, I'm going to remind once again, masks must be worn at all times. Students will have assigned seats in all of their classrooms. This will be in advance. On occasion, because of a behavior issue or something, a teacher might switch or change their seats, and that can happen. What I have asked teachers to do is make sure that that is not very often. And again, we're just trying to limit. So we may move like 2 people, change seats, something to that effect. But again, we've got so many different seating charts in this building right now that we're looking at. Occasionally a student may get pulled from a class to work individually in a small group. And again, seating charts will be utilized in that situation as well. We will still be doing a whole lot of stuff digital. So please make sure that your students are bringing their Chromebook charged with them every day. That doesn't mean just bring a charger. It means please make it a routine in your house, okay? Make it a routine that every single night the Chromebook gets plugged in, it gets charged so that it is ready to go for the next day whenever they come in. As I've mentioned before, students will be grouped together. They will be in individual pods or packs, we'll probably end up calling them. So there's an A pack or a B pack, a C pack, and a D pack in each of the 3 grade levels. 4 packs, 3 grade levels. Groupings are already established. You've already been working with those students in those groups already, and those were determined for lots of different reasons, lots of data that went into that. We are not switching classes. So I'm just going to tell you that up front. Please don't ask. We can't do that because of, again, the contact tracing situation. So please don't be asking to switch classes. They are what they are for a reason. And our schedule is so tight this year, it's not a situation where it's an easy flip. We can't just move you from one math teacher to the other math teacher. Our entire schedule is totally, completely different this year. Unified Arts. So students will still go to Unified Arts. For the most part, they will travel with that same group. The only thing that's a little bit different is PE this year. Nope, it is not PE. It is band. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. It is band. So because we have students in band and they were in different packs to begin with, either I think A and B maybe, those students that are band will all go to band. They will be socially distanced in that class based on the instrument that they play. And then the rest of those two groups will be grouped together as well. It's not an ideal situation, but it's the best that we could do as far as making sure that all of our students had access to band because Ms. Parsons is wonderful, and who would not want to be with her in order to participate in band. We've got a fabulous band program here. So again, students will still be rotating periodically through our math strategies class, technology class, and our health PE with Ms. Roach. So again, we will be using the cafeteria. We weren't sure originally if we were going to be able to do so, but we are. Students will have assigned seats in the cafeteria in order to maintain 6 feet apart. This is the only place in the building that they will be allowed to take off their masks, and that is only while they are eating. So we have some tables that have 3 students at it. We have other tables that have 2 students. And then we also have a few individual desks in the cafeteria set up as well. The first couple weeks, I'll go ahead and warn you, the first couple of weeks that students are in the building, they will be assigned to a seat alphabetically. This is mainly just to give all students, all of our new students, all of our 6th grade students, a chance to get to know each other a little bit better. After that, they will get the opportunity to choose who is at their table, but then those will be assigned from then on moving forward. Another difference is whenever we bring students into the cafeteria, they will sit. They won't go through the line. They will immediately have a seat at their assigned table, and our cafeteria staff, along with help from administrators, will be bringing the food to them at the table. Of course, they can still bring their lunch from home if they so choose. Please know that we do not have access to microwaves for them, so it needs to be something in a thermos that is already warmed up or something that is cold that doesn't need to be warmed up. So no access to microwaves. Meals will be brought to them, and then at the end of lunch, we will bring garbage around to them as well so that they can dump their garbage, clear off their table, and wipe it down for the next group to come in. Students will occasionally be taken outside if they are taken out for a mask break. So if class may choose to go outside for a mask break, as long as they are spread out, they will be able to remove that mask for a period of time. We also, however, have this beautiful new outdoor classroom thanks to Little Flock Church up the street. They came and built this for us, donated everything to us. So a huge thank you to them. But this will be an outdoor area that classes or teachers can reserve ahead of time to take their groups out there to be able to work. If in fact they are still in a work setting and working at a table together, they will need their masks on still outside. But if they spread out more so in that same area, then they would be able to remove their mask at that point. This year, we have water refill stations, water bottle refill stations, instead of our usual water fountains. Again, this is a replacement for our water fountains. So we are asking for clear, refillable water bottles. There's been lots of questions about why clear. That is so that we can make sure that it is truly just water inside the water bottle. This is an issue, unfortunately. No, we do not want Kool-Aid. No, we don't want the Mio flavorings and so forth. Again, this is a replacement for a water fountain, so it is just for water. So please make sure that they have a clear, refillable water bottle that they can use throughout the day, since our water fountains will be disabled. At the end of the day, we will be releasing small groups, again, according to pods. So we will have, whoops, not sure what just happened there. We will release like all of our A groups to begin with, and teachers will be escorting them down to the buses and to the car rider line at the end of the day. We don't want to release too many people at one time because, again, we're trying to avoid that congregation. And I can assure you, sixth grade parents, we will make sure that your sixth graders get on the right bus. We will go through bus numbers with all students before they get on the bus in the afternoon, or even before we release them in the afternoon, and we'll ensure that everybody makes it home safely. Throughout the building, we will be encouraging all students and staff to practice our Healthy at School guidelines. We'll have additional time and availability during the day for students to take restroom breaks. Whole classes will go on restroom breaks. Whole classes will have an opportunity to wash their hands before and after lunch. And there is hand sanitizer everywhere in this building right now. So we're going to ask that you all kind of follow that. Again, it's not the same freedom. Students won't be able to leave classroom to come down to the office and get a Band-Aid. They will have Band-Aids in the classrooms. They won't be able to leave their classroom to run to the restroom. They have scheduled restroom breaks during the day. Again, this just has to do with our contact tracing, and we've got to keep students safe and contained as much as possible during the day. Whenever it is the end of class, we no longer will have bells. Teachers will have alarms set in their classes, and they will walk and escort students to their next class. So lots of changes. So go ahead and start prepping, especially our 7th and 8th graders who have been in the building before, kind of know how things have run. It's going to be very different. So please go ahead and prep yourself for that, okay? All right, I've gone through so much information right now, and this has taken probably a little longer than I would have hoped, but I'm sure that you have lots of questions at this point in time. Please, 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 rather than just posting these on Facebook where they may get lost in comments, I'm going to ask that you click on this last slide. It will take you to a Google form, and you can input all of your questions there. I want to make sure that your questions are answered, and so we're going to do that a couple of different ways. Either it will be posted on a frequently asked questions document that will be shared out and updated. It will also be posted to our website. Or if it is an individual question specific to you and your situation, I will email or get back to you in particular. So please, any questions that you may have, please go ahead and click on this last link here in this last slide. Like I said before, we are so excited to have your kids back in the building. One thing that I will ask, please trust me. And I know that's a difficult thing to say because many of you don't know me. But what I have come to kind of see and hear is that everybody has their opinions as to what we should be doing, how we should be doing it, and what you think is best. And I understand that because you do know your kid and you do know what is best for your student. However, I know all of the moving parts within this building. I know my staffing. I know the guidelines. I know who I have where at what time. I know all of the moving parts. And so oftentimes when looking at one individual situation, yes, there might be another way that makes sense for that one student or that one situation. But unfortunately, we have 450 students in this building between the cloud and in person. And I've had to make a lot of very tough decisions this year in order to make sure that everybody is getting what they need to the best of our ability. So in that regard, I do ask that you trust me. If you have a question, you want to talk about something, just reach out to me. I will get back to you. I will try to explain my thinking or reasoning as much as I can. But at some point, please just know that I am looking out for the greater good of my entire school and my staff throughout the building, my teachers, my classified staff, my students, everybody who is involved here in our Zoneton community. And it's not always easy. So I just ask that you trust that more than likely, whatever thought or suggestion you have, we have had it, we have processed it, we have talked through it, we have considered it, we have figured out, looked at the pros and cons, and landed on a decision at this point. So in that regard, I ask for your help in that. So again, we're so excited to see you and your students next week and on the 20th, whenever they start to return. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to me. And as I end our morning announcements every day, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Have a thrilling Thursday.